Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we're going into the Collecting a Battalion or the Building a Battalion series again, and today we are going to start looking at Stormcast Eternals. The Stormcast Eternals are Sigmar's mighty demigod warriors who fight to save the mortal realms and cleanse them from the taint of chaos, death and destruction. So what are we aiming to do in this series? Well, let's start with talking about what is a War Scroll Battalion. So, a War Scroll Battalion is a special formation comprised of various units that by taking said units will give you access to additional abilities for the units inside said War Scroll Battalion during the game. This is really cool as it creates a fun thematic sort of army that has some narrative implementations to it. All battalions are based upon the narrative and forces that will generally fight alongside each other see to be together in battalions. But why are we doing this? And so, as mentioned, collecting a battalion can be a great way to collect to a theme. Building to a theme is really cool. You can have something unifying, you have a story behind your army. It gives you a goal to strive towards and an endpoint to reach as well. The reason for this is like a goal to strive towards, you have this battalion that you can try and fill out. It's a set amount of models that you're trying to complete to get. It gives you an end goal of this battalion is done, it's fully fleshed out, this is done. You get bonuses as well for playing with the models as mentioned, and they thematically go together. This is really cool. Playing to the narrative and getting bonuses because your army is narrative is a really cool thing to have happen to you in the game. And it's a chance to try out models you might not otherwise take. This is cool because some battalions utilise models that might not be the best on their own war scroll, but put them into a battalion, combine them with other things within the battalion and how the battalion works within an army, and they might actually be something better than the sum of their parts. So let's go into what's the plan. So we're looking to build an army focusing on the battalion in question, whatever that may be. In this case it will be Stormcast Eternal battalions, and we'll go through them all. To thematically build upon a battalion if required, so not all battalions are full or big enough to create a 2,000 point army, and so we'll thematically build upon them if required. So we'll add in units that fit the theme of the battalion of what it's trying to evoke. And to have a framework to set an end goal within. This is a great thing. It gives us a goal to strive towards, and somewhere like even after 2,000 points of where you can go with the rest of the army to fully flesh it out. But let's get cracking into the battalions, and we'll start off with. Alright, so today we're going to look at the Soulstrike Brotherhood Battalion. Now, this is a really cool battalion and uses some of my favourite models in the Stormcast Eternal range, even though they're probably not the best on paper. And that is the Castigators. I absolutely love the Castigator models. Everything about them just looks so darn cool. I really am just a massive fan of these models. So, let's get into the organisation of this battalion to start with. So you need 2 units of Vanguard Hunters. Note, both units of Vanguard Hunters must include a model carrying an astral compass. This is a cool little thing that allows them to jump around the board. I don't know why you would have a unit of Vanguard Hunters without an astral compass. You also need 2 units of Castigators. There we go, my boys. My favourite unit in probably the whole Sacrosanct range. And 1 Soulstrike Ballista. So, the benefit you get from this battalion. So, if any units of Vanguard Hunters from this battalion were on the battlefield at the start of a turn in which a Sacrosanct unit from the same battalion is set up on the battlefield for the first time, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of a missile weapons used by the Sacrosanct unit in that turn. So, this is cool. Effectively, the Vanguard Hunters are on the table at the start of the turn. When the Castigators and Ballista drop down, they get extra attacks. Really cool. This puts the Castigators up to 2 shots each, making them a lot nicer, and the Soulstrike Ballista gets an extra shot, which is always cool. Now, obviously, we're wanting to keep these units up in the air now, and make sure we get the most effect out of them. So, we're going to try and play some shoot cast sort of alpha strikey list, although it's pretty hard because you do need to fill in other pieces, and you're going to be pretty high drops. Your Vanguard Hunters are going to have to be sacrificed, potentially, or your Alpha Ballistas put deep in your own lines. So obviously the army we are playing is going to be the Stormcast Eternals. The faction we've chosen for the sub-faction we've chosen is the Anvils of the Heldenhammer. Now this is a really cool one because it allows you to use your ability to shoot in the hero phase, which is really cool. This does mean, if you can drop down those units, you might get some cool shooting the next turn as well and really make your shooting count. Of course, you won't get the extra shot because it won't be in the same turn, but you can make that shooting count. If you get double turns with this, you can really lay some firepower down. And Realm, it doesn't really matter for what I'm doing, so I've just put down Azir, the Realm of Heavens. Why? Because we can. Leader-wise, the army is going to be led by a Lord Aquila. This means that by making him our general, the units of Vanguard Hunters in the battalion are becoming battle line. He's going to have the command trait Deathly Aura and the artifact Soul Thief. No other reason than these are just simply the ones that you get thanks to Anvils of the Helden Hammer. They're both combat-y, so there's no other hero really to put them on besides him. We've also given him Mount King Claude, so if he needs to, he can go run off and deal with some units on his own. He's decent in a fight and can probably take out some easy picking, like, weak models holding objectives in your opponent's backfield. He can probably, and other 5-wound characters, he'll probably deal with pretty easily. The Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger is the choice we've taken as well. And why we've done this is because the Griff Charger one just allows us to move around the board a lot better and drop down near those Castigators. He'll buff those Castigators with his ability to make them get both effects of their giant crossbows off. We've taken the spell Stormcaller because really, in current meta, we're probably not likely to ever get a spell off with this guy. He's more there to buff the Castigators with command points rather than actually casting spells, but we've chosen Stormcaller. I always like this. It can potentially go off and do some really good splash mortal wounds, but it is pretty meh most of the time. Mount trait, Lift Limb. This is going to give us an extra move. This can make sure he can stay in range of the big blobs of Castigators in the army. And we've also chosen the Mindlock Staff. So if he drops down, he can potentially turn an enemy hero off and a powerful wizard off. This is a really cool artifact, and I think with all these mega casters in the game, this could potentially be a cool artifact to start using and dropping down in your opponent's lines. Lastly, we've chosen to take a Lord Ordinator, and that's because we're going to have Celestar Ballistas in the army, so why not have him in there? For battle line, as mentioned, we've got 3 units of 5 Vanguard Hunters. These are cool little units with an Astral Compass. We can potentially leave them off the table. You can swap up how you play this army, which is really cool. You can leave different units off. Also, they're not too shabby. They've got some decent shots. They will deal with any small sort of heroes, lightly armored heroes or wizards if they can get into them. But really, they don't do an awful lot, and their biggest use in this army is actually going to be for screening on the first couple of turns to make sure our ballistas are safe, and also to make sure that we're getting the benefits of the Soulstrike Brotherhood. In the other units category, we've got a giant unit of 18 Castigators and another unit of 9 Castigators. This is where the punch in the army is going to come from, and I know Castigators are not particularly great, but they can do a job, and if you happen to be playing in a heavy Chaos meta, they actually can do some quite serious damage, and they'll probably take most great daemons off the table in a turn, as they get a whole bunch of bonuses versing daemons. But I just love Castigators, and this is probably the only way I can see to effectively use them. We've got another battalion, but it's not really as good as this. This focuses on the Castigators and really makes them cool. In the artillery, we've taken 4 Celestar Ballistas because why not? Let's just go all in. Let's take 4 Celestar Ballistas. One of them is going to be from the battalion. So you would keep 3 of them on the table. You drop down 1 in the first turn and you just absolutely let rip. And then battalion, obviously we're taking the Soulstrike Brotherhood, which is cool. And this is going to come to a nice 2,000 points total. We're going to need an extra command point, no allies. But it's also going to be 131 wounds, which is not too shabby and probably slightly above average. It's a pretty decent amount of wounds to be able to put on the table. And those 18 Castigators, that is 36 wounds on a 4-up save to have to work through. That's decent. Nothing to be shirked at. But all in all, this is a fun list. I run of this list previous to the current point adjustments. I think I managed to fit in another Celestar Ballista thanks to all the point adjustments on all the units, which is cool. And it was a lot of fun to play. I made some mistakes, but it was in the game against a decent Skaven list when I played it last. And I can't wait to get some more games in with it. I've definitely got to get it painted up though. and we can have some games on the channel for you all to watch. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on this Stormcast battalion, and I know Stormcasts are viewed as having rather weak battalions, but I'm going to go through them all regardless, and we're going to have some fun looking at some cool and unique Stormcast armies. But that's it for the video, so don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this, and well, if you've got any thoughts about Stormcast Eternals or the battalions and getting started with Stormcast Eternals, leave them in the comments down below as well. I'm a big fan of Stormcast. I have a decent sized army. In fact, I have a whole warrior chamber that I'm currently painting up. But as mentioned, you can also go check out the links down in the description below. You'll find a link to our Discord server where you can come chat to me and other members of the community. You'll find a link to our Twitch channel, of which you should definitely go give us a follow on Twitch and help us hit 50 followers. We're so close to it. And lastly, you'll find a link to our Patreon if you wish to support the channel in any other way. A big thank you to those people who do support the channel in such a big way. Thank you to our Sinful Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Soren, Philip Ward, and Couchspawn. You guys are all amazing. And our Sinful Free Guild Regiment member, James. Thank you very much, mate. But that's it from me, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. We'll see you all again real soon.